Welcome back, Galaxy Brains, the film lover's guide to the galaxy, where one person here doles out the assignment, the other person does it well, and one kind of doesn't read the assignment correctly. How's everyone's week going so far, you guys?
It's not bad. It's not bad. Can't
It's
complain.
going.
There's
But,
a
yeah.
there's a lot that we got to talk about. A lot of different trailers that dropped over the past couple days. We are going to talk about Space Jam: A New Legacy, and available right now on HBO Max or in theaters if you inclined to go to see. But it does give us a good segue to talk about our top 5 blended live action and animated movies. But before we get to all that, and before I ask the hosts what they've been watching this week, I want to introduce a little small segment. What grinds Joe's gears? I think this is a really fun segment. This is something that can be kind of like in a reoccurring thing. Joe has opinions. That's why he's on this show. And I love his opinions. So, Joe, what's grinding your gears this week?
All right. I'll try to keep it. I'll try to keep it not too ranty or long. The general topic I want to talk about is tipping, and it's coming from a person who does tip, who tips the 15, 18, 20%, things like that. And this is not going to be ranting about the fact that like coffee shops and to go places as asking for tipping. What I found to be very stupid about tipping are, do you guys know who are the general people who want tipping to stay around? It's because it's not the customers. Who are the biggest proponents of tipping?
Other than the workers that
That's
are
it.
working.
It's just the workers.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's not even the majority of the workers. It's the workers who make more than the average, right? It's like the people who are waiters at like a nice restaurant. Because I don't like none of these guys who work at like a low like at like a Applebee's. They would rather prefer to get paid like European wages. You get paid a regular $15 an hour.
But a lot of the states, they have laws or codes where restaurant workers don't or make below minimum wage.
Oh, yeah, they make like $2 an hour or something.
And then they, because you're getting tipped, and it's like, well, fuck you,
right? And so there's always studies being done where the obvious complaints were the service will get worse or the service will be different. But there's places in Asia do it perfectly well. Places in Europe that do it perfectly well. Things like that. U.S. is very stupid in a lot of ways. It's great in a lot of ways as well. But fuck tipping, man. Hate that shit. Fucking hate that shit. But the one thing I do have to say about it is because it's such a thing that's ingrained in our culture, I think I'm allowed to complain about it. At the same time, I am allowed to understand that if you go out, you're paying that extra 18, 20, 25%. I just hate that these percentages are going up. It's a percentage. If the cost of food, by the way, today a burrito costs $9. I just realized I was thinking about that. It's fucking $9 for a burrito.
Bro, I paid $12 for a chicken sandwich. Granted, it was like a nice chicken sandwich.
Okay, yeah.
But I paid $12 for a fried chicken sandwich.
That's what I mean.
That consisted of a maple bun, bacon, and a fried egg on top.
That's what I'm saying. Like, price of food goes up, right? Your tip's gonna go up no matter what because it's a percentage. So that's what it's a percent.
I would rather if these food prices go up that it goes to the workers. Not so much the tip, but like if you're going to raise food prices, which I'm perfectly okay if that means that they actually get a livable wage. I don't care. I'll pay it because I'm already making that decision to go
right.
out.
So I think it was somewhere like in Norway or something. They pay their McDonald's employees something like $15-20 an hour, and the Big Mac something like 40 cents more. Right. The other thing I'm hearing a lot is, the food price will skyrocket. No, not really. It's because a lot of these corps, especially, it depends on the corporations. It's just they're just being greedy. And I understand that restaurants have razor thin margins and things like that, but there's ways around this, and they're just refusing to do it. And I think that waiters and waitresses should be
you see all these fucking places like, oh, work for us, we'll give you a $50 signing bonus. No, fuck you, pay me more.
Yeah, I hate that so much. It's happening here too, and I tell people, hey man, if you're not getting paid $15 an hour now, you should be finding somewhere else to work.
Mhm.
And I understand that people need to work and things like that, but anyways, that's my super tiny rant about tipping. Although, please, for the people listening, do not punish your waiter or waitress because you disagree with the system. That's the
Yeah.
first thing I'm gonna say, right?
Yeah.
These people are more or less victims of it. So if you're gonna go out, understand that tipping is gonna. If you disagree with it, just don't go out. But if you do go out at this point, anyways, and you're going to a place where they serve you the food, we're not talking like you pick up the food. That's another frustrating thing altogether. But if you're going to a sit down place, because there's places where you pick up the food, they turn that iPad around you, your defaults are 25, 30, 40% or some
Yeah,
shit.
that's wild.
I'm like, what the fuck? Where's the zero option? Look, and by the way,
I tipped, so I got donuts this morning. So there's a real nice Korean lady who runs a donut shop, and every summer we have summer school. I stop by the donut shop once a week, twice a week. She's super nice. I get my Diet Coke, I get my 2 donuts, and we're good. I always give her $1 when I'm there, tip. I
seems
feel
good.
so much better about putting the money in her hands and everything like that than like you said, Joe, like, oh, immediate like 20%. It's like, dude, fuck you. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. And it's just it feels very pompous to me, and I don't know if it's a software thing, but personally, if there's places where you just pick up the food and things like that, and they do this like try to quote unquote mandatory, I have no problem looking them straight in the eye and saying zero.
No.
No. But anyways, if you go into a sit down place, just know that in the U.S. culture, anyways, please be expected to tip, and it's just on the system, not the waiter.
Jared, what have you been watching and consuming this past week?
What have I been watching? I have been watching a ton of stuff. In preparation for the conversation tonight, of course, I watched some Space Jam. I also watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit because 1, it's a great movie, and 2, it pertains to the topic we're going to get into tonight. What else have I been watching? So I watched the first episode of that new HBO show called White Lotus.
Oh,
The
yeah.
White Lotus.
Heard about that.
Have you guys seen the trailer for that? It's written and directed all episodes by Mike White, who was the real Ned Schneebly on School of Rock, and he's done a lot of writing and directing kind of stuff in the comedy world. It's got this like undercurrent of real like anxiety to it, but it's really funny. Steve Zahn's in it. Connie Brighton's in it, Mrs. Coach from Friday Night Lights. A lot of really funny performances in it, and it's just like I'm sitting there going like, oh, this is so awkward but funny, but like everything. It's really good. I really highly recommend it. Another thing I watched on HBO Max was I didn't know it was going to be a series, but I thought it was just a movie. 100-Foot Wave. And it's about this guy's quest to surf 100-foot wave.
It's like a semi-documentary thing, right?
Yeah. In Nazaré, Portugal. It is fucking crazy. I highly recommend you watching it. I love surf documentaries anyway. I really enjoy just surf movies in general. But and this one is in big wave surfing is a whole other beast. It's absolutely crazy. I really recommend it. Other than those things, I got my Bachelorette in on Mondays as always, with some Below Deck as well. I love trash TV. My girl Katie is killing it as the lead this season on The Bachelorette. But yeah, other than that, just all the trailers, which we're going to get into after this.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I've been actually trying to prepare myself for the other podcast I'm on, Mortal Kombat, because we're doing TV shows that got canceled too soon. I am stuck on Batman Beyond right now because I was only going to watch the first couple episodes.
It's very good.
And then I am almost done with season 2, about to get into season 3. I forgot how great that show really is. And that's one of the picks I had that we're going through. Other than that, I've actually... Yeah.
What's Batman Beyond up against?
This week, it's going up against Harper's Island. Harper's Island was out for one season. I expect Harper's Island to lose.
I was looking at your posts about that contest, and some of these shows. I mean, it makes sense. I haven't even heard of
Because they
because I
got
guess they
canceled
get
too soon.
canceled too. But Batman Beyond, I don't know. Batman Beyond's been around for like 3-4 seasons or something.
So the qualifying is that it has to have 3 seasons or less, and Batman Beyond
Ah,
only had 3 seasons.
okay.
Now, looking at the trajectory of that show, I was shocked that it was canceled, but I give that assist to John because John was telling me, think of animated shows that got canceled because of toy sales, and that is the biggest thing because Batman Beyond came out during our time in like middle school, high school, so kids of that age probably were like, oh, maybe it's a little too hyper real for them because I mean I remember watching in high school. It's like, oh shit, this is pretty fun. Um, but yeah, outside of that, I've actually, we just finished up the NBA finals. Yeah, I'll tell you, this is probably one of the better series I've seen since 2016 when it was Cavs,
Cavs and the
Warriors,
Warriors. Yeah.
before Kevin Durant came on. This is the first time since when LeBron won the chip there in Cleveland that I like felt really good for a player winning a championship because I do feel good for Giannis winning. I mean, his story, and the funny thing is, if you've listened to us or even just listened to read us on Twitter, we complain a lot about what this guy needs to improve on. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he is dominant and he showed it on display. In some bizarre world, that game 6, that guy went 17 for 19 free throw shooting.
That's Shaq-esque. You know how
He,
Shaq
he,
sucks at free throws.
he,
Crunch time he pulls through.
oh man, like, getting that 50 piece, I couldn't be happier for the guy. But yeah, that's what I've been kind of watching throughout the week. What about you, Joe?
I didn't. I focused a lot on the topic at hand. The one thing I did watch on Apple TV Plus was a show called Schmigadoon. I don't know if you guys heard of that. It's like it's a show about a couple that got stuck in a town that is a full on musical, and it's releasing like one episode at a time, and it's like 2 or 3 episodes in. But I thought it was very interesting. It has Key from Key and Peele, and that one Mexican girl from SNL. I don't know if that really narrows it down, but it's very interesting. I'm a big musical guy. It also has that guy from Portlandia, the guy, not the girl. So I guess it pulled a lot of SNL cast. It's on Apple TV Plus, so I don't know
Is
if a
Fred
lot of people.
Armisen in that?
Yeah,
show?
Fred Armisen. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He, they have roles. It's one of those things, but I always found it is one of the executive producers is I think it might be created by the guy who created SNL. The name escapes me. But Lauren Michaels, right? Lauren Michaels.
Yes.
But it's like a whole on musical with not it's not singing all the way through like Hamilton or anything like that. But I think it's interesting to have a mini series or a series where it's a lot of music because like in terms of a creativity standpoint, it's quite difficult. I think it's quite challenging, but I want to see how far it goes. The story's cute. It's interesting. You know, I like Key. That's really about it. So that's what I've been watching this week.
This week, for some reason, an inordinate amount of trailers kind of dropped. But there's one in particular that I kind of want to focus on.
Jackass 4.
Dude,
Not gonna lie, I showed my dad, and he was fucking all in on that, bro.
these dudes, someone's gonna die.
Cannot believe
Someone's gonna
I'm
die.
so happy. It's so I know this isn't the one that you want to talk about, Johnny, but I'm fully sidetracking on this. So they're running for the new Jackass movie. They ran a completely closed sober set. So there was no alcohol, no drugs, no nothing. And that's why you don't see Bam Margera in the trailer.
That makes
Bam
sense.
was actually kicked off the set because he kept trying to bring alcohol into the set and everything like that. And Johnny and Steve-O were all like, no, you got to leave. And Bam physically threatened the director, Jeff Tremaine, and they have a restraining order against him. Bam is in a really tough spot right now. He's really spiraling, and it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But seeing those guys back at it, like completely doing their thing, is fucking crazy.
I know. I saw that trailer and I was thinking to myself, like, I hope at least this younger generation will give it a shot. I know it's some of the dumbest shit we watched, like growing up as a teenager, but I mean, it's funny though.
It's still funny as shit when you think about it.
Look, there will never be a time, unless you're the one getting kicked in the balls, that it's not funny.
Yeah,
like, when it's done
100%.
to you, it's hurt, it's painful. But when you see it, it's still funny.
I just feel that, yeah, like I feel our parents saw it when we were younger, and they were like, "What the fuck are you?" I remember my mom like, "No, you can't watch that," because, I mean, responsibly, yeah, you don't want your kid watching.
You don't want them copying that stuff. It makes sense, right?
But also, good lord, was it funny?
It's the fact that there's a legit danger aspect to it. I think Knoxville would want this to be as real as possible and know pretty much all safety is off. And I don't know, there's nothing else really like it, and I think that's a very, very novelty factor. Not a lot of people are willing to do this. Not a lot of stunt. I don't think there's any stunt doubles in any way.
Oh yeah,
it's gross. It's painful. It's cringing. It's all these things that scratch and itch for a lot of people that you can't get anywhere else. And I will definitely watch it. That's my take on it. I don't know if it'll be great, but if it any way is similar to Jackass 3 or 2 or the movie,
any of them.
Yeah, where they literally fuck with each other and get shit on and literally get shit on,
it's gonna be
or
great.
get hurt but not seriously hurt. I'll watch it still.
I think that's one of the more underrated aspects of the show or the movie is like they actually are friends, and so they don't feel like it's a job per se. I mean, yeah, they got to prepare for those stunts, but like there's a familial aspect to it.
I'm wondering who's the one that like thinks all right, we're gonna roll down a shopping cart off a roof or something, like who is the person that thinks of all these ideas? But it's great,
it's got to be part Knoxville, man. Like,
yeah.
That wasn't the trailer so much. It was another trailer that was near and dear to our hearts. It was a second trailer for Dune. Now, if you guys don't know, trailer releases, they normally go teaser first, second, and then third. Third is to sell you. First is just to, get you hyped up. But the second one is where the actual story, where the meat lies, where they kind of explain what the plot of the movie is. I'm very interested to hear Jared go play by play in his morning of seeing when the trailer first dropped and what he did and how he experienced it.
My alarm went off at 6:30 a.m. I grabbed my phone. I was gonna go snooze it, but then I realized, okay, I'm just gonna look at the news so far, and then I fucking went on the movies subreddit, and there it was. I didn't watch it on my phone. I turned on my fucking TV with my nice subwoofer and sound systems, and I watched that. I watched that thing twice in a row, just going like, "Oh my god, they did it!" Like Denny did it. I don't care what anyone says. He did it. He actually filmed the unfilmable movie. It is incredible. Me watching that whole thing, going like, "Oh my god!" Like. There's just so, and and here's the thing, like Dune the book has like little to no comedy in it, but that's not going to sell a movie. That's not, all movies can't just be that unless you are Inarritu and you are filming Javier Bardem just being a sad sack and beautiful. That doesn't sell though. So I mean,
what a sad movie.
Yeah, like unless you're like a misery merchant like that dude, you got to have some levity in your movie. And the idea of opening that trailer with one Zendaya and then having Jason Momoa in there, it's so smart. because it's going to oh my god, I love Zendaya. Oh my god, Lola Bunny. Oh my god, I love Jason Momoa. Oh my god, Jason Momoa has a fucking sword and he's going after these dudes. Hell yeah. I hope this movie absolutely kills it at the box office. I have the confidence that this movie can have a great movie series to it if people go see it. This film is only covering like the first half of the book, or probably 2/3 of the book, I would say. So there's a definite like. So what happens in the book is there's a time jump forward at a certain spot. That's not spoiling anything. And after that time jump, like the shit starts to like really go down in terms of like really crazy stuff that happens. And then the second book, which is called Dune Messiah, is really short. It's like a fraction of the pages. So Dune is 600 plus pages, and Dune Messiah is only like 200. I'm wondering if they get a sequel, are they going to film the rest of Dune and incorporate Messiah into it? Because Messiah is a really reflective, contemplative, kind of philosophical book that's going to be really hard to film on its own. I'm thinking if it were me, I would do the rest of Dune and then bring in the plot from Messiah that kind of is the epilogue to Dune. Gosh, Timothée Chalamet, that little beautiful man, is in there. Like, oh, do you guys have any questions? What did you guys think? Give me your thoughts, questions, throw them at me if I can answer anything or explain anything, because holy fuck, Dune.
I don't know enough to ask questions. I thought it was just cool looking.
I would say the first trailer got me hyped. And full disclosure, I haven't read the book. I haven't seen Lynch's Dune, so I'm kind of going into this blind, which I prefer it that way. Simply because then people that have read it, like Jared, can kind of talk to me through it afterwards. I kind of want to see what the film adaptation is going to be. That being said, one of the things that I the total difference between the first and second trailer was when I saw the first trailer, I was thinking to myself, oh, Rebecca Ferguson is in here. She's going to be, okay, she's like a wife to Oscar Isaac. That's what it looked like in the first trailer. This trailer, I'm like, oh shit, she's actually going to do action. Now I'm like very hyped because
she is so much more than the Duke's. She's not the wife. She's a concubine. Yeah. So what happens is there's this. Leto is Oscar Isaac. He is the ducal. He is the duchy of a planet, and there's like these like houses, kind of like Game of Thrones, and they're constantly at war and yada yada. He's single, and because he can use his relationships and marriages to position himself into parts of power. Mm-hmm. His concubine is Lady Jessica, who is who you see, but they love each other so much, and she is what's called a Bene Gesserit. Now, basically, they're controlling the lineages and everything throughout the galaxy to produce this thing. I'm not going to go into it, but they're controlling who marries who and has what kid. They have total body control. They're able to control the mechanisms and the happenings inside their body. And what happens is she was supposed to have a girl with Leto. She loved him so much, she gave him an heir, which is Paul, which is Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong. Mm-hmm. Who is him. And that's so if you saw in the trailer like that white thing he's standing in front of, it looked like a big tree. Mm-hmm. That's like the representation of what the Bene Gesserit are doing. He's mm-hmm. looking at that, and I'm assuming that's how they're going to explain it. They're fucking crazy fighters. They're amazing, and they have like this weird way of speaking, which like is kind of like mind control. They're basically crazy female spies, and they're fucking awesome. Yeah. Frank Herbert, the author of Dune, soft-bodied man. Mm-hmm. Loved a strong woman. Questionable politics, but loved a strong woman.
Oh man, yeah. Seeing this trailer and kind of getting a little bit more gist of what it's going to be about, it's got me very excited.
Yeah.
It's very rare with directors to kind of see. I see their name, I'm probably going to go watch it. Nolan will be one of them. Scorsese will be another. Villeneuve is now that director. You see his
Mm-hmm.
name, you just go in blind, and you know you're going to get something good. Same thing with when it comes to horror. James Wan, they have a new trailer out for Malignant, which is a new horror film that he's actually directing. Did you guys both see this trailer?
I did not know.
No,
No,
I
no.
haven't.
Okay, so it's very supernatural, but you could tell it's a very James Wan horror film. So I am very excited to see what he's going to do, or when this movie releases, because it's been a while since he's released an actual horror film he directed. It probably was Conjuring 2, and that was like 6-7 years ago. So it's been a little bit. So I'm excited to see that. Guys, we'll get into our topic and what movie came out this past week. LeBron James decides to continue copying Michael Jordan, and he has Space Jam: A New Legacy that's come out. Brings back Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes as they need to win a basketball game so he can win his son back. Joe, what are your quick thoughts about this movie?
It was. I think that the casting was one of the more interesting points of the movie. I thought that Don Cheadle was not a very good cast as a villain.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that Don Cheadle plays a bad guy well, because I like
No,
Don
yeah,
Cheadle.
I agree.
I like Don Cheadle. I think he does excellent roles in a lot of things. I liked him in Iron Man. I liked him in a lot of all the other things he does. But I don't know. I don't know who else could have done it. It could be the bad guy from Breaking Bad. I lost the guy who runs the chicken place. But I thought the casting was kind of bad there. I thought that overall the film was sort of as expected. The first film was just all right. This one's just going to be all right as well. And I'm not entirely sure if I'm necessarily the target audience for this. Like a millennial, I guess. Are we millennials? Whatever it is.
Yes, we
Gen
are.
X.
We're
Um,
millennials.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely. I don't know if this is necessarily maybe for kids who are just into random stuff. And I don't know. I always feel like also the voice, because of the voice casting for a lot of these people were switched as well. I don't know if they had the original Bugs Bunny. I don't know if there's a contract thing. When I first heard it, I thought the voices were slightly off. I'm like, oh,
Well,
that's
I
weird.
mean, Mel Blanc is dead.
No,
So,
but
like,
it
the
was
voice we grew up with is,
n-
I mean,
the voice for the Bugs Bunny that did the first Space Jam.
oh, I thought you meant.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like Mel Blanc is dead.
No,
I mean,
no,
you aren't wrong. Bugs Bunny did seem a lot older. Like you
yeah,
could tell his voice was a little bit older.
yeah. So I thought that is yeah, and then we never expected LeBron James to be like a Oscar actor or anything, but yeah, it was okay. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I just watched it on HBO Max, so that's my thoughts on it.
What about you, Jared?
I'm looking up the voice actors right now. Hold on.
I looked it up at one point, and it was definitely a different person for Bugs. And
Yeah, so I don't know why they didn't bring back Billy West. Billy West was the Bugs in the original Space Jam.
the other thing was who played Daffy Duck. That was the other thing that's kind of tripped me up a little bit. It was a very famous actor, and it kind of, I'm like, what? This guy did Daffy Duck? Maybe the voice modulations or something.
Are you talking about the new one or the old one?
The new one. The new one.
Oh, Jeffrey Bergman played him in the new one.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking something else.
He's a very famous voice actor, but Billy West is also a very famous voice actor. He was Dr. Zoidberg. He was Stimpy. He was Fry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you don't bring that guy back, because
It's probably a money or contract
what the
thing.
fuck, Billy
they
West.
they didn't want to be associated with the movie, because they're thinking, it's going to be a train
Weird
wreck or something.
considering they have the same name. But
I don't know.
but yeah, anyway, I mean, the movie was not for geared towards me, but it was fine for what it was. I give it a solid C, maybe a C minus.
That's about what I'd give it to.
I think like the whole trope of like, oh, video games are bad in the beginning just is kind of like made me eye roll and immediately almost check out. So Johnny and I were talking about this before you got here, Joe. Who is the better actor, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Oh God, you know.
It's the GOAT, man.
No.
The thing is though, right? I don't see what else has Jordan done in terms
Nothing.
of because
Hanes commercials.
He does commercials, but those are small spots. And
I mean,
think
he if you can call it acting, he was in that. He was in the documentary, The Last Dance. But
yeah.
I mean,
that is true.
This
Pete
thing is,
Jordan right there.
I would say it's such a limited view on both these guys acting. I think they're both just terrible, right? On a slightly off topic, it's funny watching these super professional people that are really good at this one thing do something completely different. I'm sort of into weightlifting, and there's the Olympics are coming up, so I watch Chinese guys that are really good at weightlifting play basketball, and
awful.
they're fucking terrible. Like I figured, you're physically gifted and maybe something can translate. Nope. Unless you're good at sports in general, you fucking suck if you're just strictly that. So, in terms of, if you're strictly an athlete, because you're going into basically like arts, like performing arts. I don't think it's not very good. So I don't know who's better, but they both suck.
Oh, man, Johnny, you might be right.
I'm telling you, like it's.
I'm watching clips right now of the original Space Jam.
So I made the argument that it's Michael Jordan, and here's the reason why. It's because the director, I forgot who directed the first Space Jam, didn't have Jordan really go out of his lane. Like, just be you. But he's, when you get recorded rather than just being naturally you, it's going to be a little bit different. But he tends to be that. The problem with this movie was the director asked LeBron to actually act, and that's where the problem comes in. There's times where he's sitting down with his son and trying to have a heart-to-heart moment, and I'm all like, please don't.
Man, if they just did LeBron like the way he acts on his Instagram, like Taco Tuesday or whatever,
Correct.
And all that shit, that's
kind of what I was saying. Like, Joe, you don't watch pro wrestling, but there's this kind of philosophy of when guys do like a scripted promo versus a non-scripted promo. So these guys, they go out and they go, I tell you what, Hulk Hogan, I want you.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
classic. Yeah.
So back in the day, like you'd have the Macho Man saying like, "Ooh, yeah, brother," and like he would like cut his promo, but he would have a bullet list of like, okay, make sure you mention the date, the time, the match, your opponent. Nowadays in the WWE, it's a fully scripted 4-page monologue that these guys got to go out there and do.
And this is for like actually the match or like
yeah. So, but promos, I mean,
okay, for promos.
I mean, just like instead of that, like kind of fire of like, hey, this is what my character would say. I'm the wrestler. I'm playing this character. It's a bunch of writers and give it to Vince, and Vince writes a whole 4-page script, then gives it to the wrestler. It's a completely weird way of doing things. So instead of like, you got Dusty Rhodes talking about how a computer took my job after 50 years working at the watch all I get is a gold watch and a kick in the butt. You get these wrestlers sounding robotic. They get tripped up on their lines, yada, yada. And it's the same thing with this. I feel with Jordan, they kind of were like, okay, this is like kind of the script. This is kind of what you can say. LeBron, it was like, okay, no, you got to say this. This is your lines. You got to say it exact. This is the blocking. This is this. Just give the guy some fucking bullet points and let him just be a goofy dad. We, like you said, Joe, we see it all the time on his Instagram. And
do you think that this is what LeBron wanted though? Because
he doesn't fucking care.
You know what? I think LeBron cares so much about his image. Like I'd say at least in the last 6-7 years.
No, I agree with Joe on this.
Everything that he agrees to do from a contract
You think
standpoint,
pretty
he goes like
meticulously.
he
Yeah.
goes bullet to bullet. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I want all the script written. I'm going to review the script, and I'm gonna okay the script, and this is what he did, and this is a product of what he thought was going to be.
I
Good.
don't think he had I don't think he signed off on the script. I don't think he had that much.
I'm just saying, if LeBron is the key on this, and he's like a billionaire,
Yeah,
because he doesn't
maybe.
have to do this at all. This is completely optional to this dude.
Those weren't his real kids, correct?
Oh
No.
That's
They're
what I thought.
actors.
I was
They're
like,
actors.
what the
Yeah.
fuck?
No, that's not Bronny. So
Yeah, I was like, these kids
Kids
don't
too
look
short.
athletic. Like,
way too short.
I know. But yeah, so the funny thing when you're talking about that, Joe, is that like one of the producers in the original Space Jam was David Falk. That was Jordan's agent. Here, it's Maverick Carter, also part of LeBron's entourage. But I think wrestling is very meta at times, and if you want to think about this in a meta way, Space Jam with Jordan and then this new Space Jam with LeBron are pretty. If you think about how their public image is, these movies kind of represent what it is, right? I think Jordan wanted to win at all costs, and he's willing to show players up when it comes to that. Which one of one of the things I talked to Jared about earlier is that I think this is the better movie, but I had more fun with watching the original Space Jam, and there's a couple reasons.
Yeah.
One, the NBA players. Okay, so what's the point of having Anthony Davis, Dame Lillard, Diana Taurasi, Klay Thompson, when they're only in there for about 30 seconds, and then if they are acting behind a green screen, that I don't even see or notice them, right? At least with the original one, the Monstars took away their powers, but then we actually got segments of like Barkley,
yeah,
Bradley, Larry Johnson, like just fucking around, right? Remember when Basketball Jones, the song's about to come up because Charles Barkley couldn't play pickup with a bunch of like kids because of how terrible it is?
Yeah, give me that shit.
You don't get those moments in this movie where these NBA players don't want to be made fun of, right?
Yeah.
Like they can't take a joke.
You took it right out of my mouth. These guys are fucking soft. They don't want to be made fun of. Oh my God. Like, you think fucking, what was that? Was it Brent Barry?
Yeah.
Not Brent. Yeah, he was in the original one, right? Yeah. You think Brent Barry, Muggsy Bogues, Charles Brothers, do you think they gave a fuck about anybody? No. They were collecting the bag that money brought them. The homie Michael was hooking it up for him. They didn't care. Cool. They're laughing on their way to the bank. These guys just have this crazy ego, and they vanity search. And
the guys probably thought it was a good, funny idea.
Yeah.
Like they're cool. They're just dudes, just kind of messing around. That was really it, And
they can
it's
take a
done
joke
well.
And I just don't think this movie, with the way the script is written, lends to it, right? At least Jordan, he shared some of the screen, but we all know who was the star of that movie. And in this one, it's like, I don't kind of want to share with anyone. So let's just have kind of LeBron there. But I do want to talk to you guys before we kind of move on, is just the whole Bugs recruiting sequence. Two ones in particular. One, one of your guys' favorite movies of the past 10 years, Mad Max, Fury Road. And who was the one that was trapped? Was it Taz? I don't really remember. I think it was Taz or was, right? How did you guys feel about one of your favorite movies having a character in there?
I was so numb to the whole thing. I was like, okay, sure. Like it. I think you said it before, Johnny. It's like, this is just a giant IP flex.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is what we got. Fuck all you. Don't you wish you had these movies?
If you had a better UI, I would want all those movies.
I think that's one of my more favorite parts of the movies, where it's like the montage of it. I had no idea they owned Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty did a little thing there. The Iron Giant, King Kong, all that sort of thing. It was cool because everything else felt very, very expected, very, I guess well polished, because that's what they wanted. The whole game was kind of eh. I mean, Ernie Johnson being there was cool too, because I just like Ernie Johnson.
Best part that I think that
Who
was the
doesn't like Patrick
smartest.
Dempsey, man?
I think that was the smartest thing they could have done is have Ernie there.
Bring
Yeah.
the whole TNT crew is what I would have done.
Yeah, that's. I
Shaq,
mean,
Shaq would have clowned the shit if he allowed him on LeBron.
I feel
And Barkley was like, "Yeah, this looks very familiar" or something. They could have just done some shit like that. That would have been great.
spoilers, but one of my favorite moments, simply because, like I said, I didn't read any spoilers or anything like that, was when they were in the locker room at halftime, and then you start hearing the Chicago Bulls theme song kind of go off, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh shit, they're really gonna bring Michael Jordan into this locker room?" And it just became Michael B. Jordan. I don't know about you.
That
I
was cute.
laughed. I laughed. I was like, Michael B. Jordan. That was actually pretty fun sequence there.
Also, because this is a quote unquote sequel, and they're doing a lot of the similar things, bring back the Space Jam song, even if it's a little bit. Come on and jam.
that
It's
original soundtrack was a banger.
that just that one song is good enough, and I don't see why, and I have to only assume it's because LeBron wants to stand on his own two legs or something. I I don't know.
Stand on his own two legs with a IP that was done by another player before it.
Yeah,
It's funny because I did listen to both soundtracks back to back, and you know, there was only one song in this new soundtrack that actually stood out to me. Everything else was like, I can catch this on the radio or in someone else's album, but it doesn't feel necessarily like Space Jam, right? Space Jam, yes, that's the theme song, but I Believe I Can Fly, which, I get it. R. Kelly is not a name we should reckon with, but,
Oof.
it's a very inspirational song. But then Fly Like an Eagle with Seal, like these songs, like kind of like
They're
of
'90s
the thing.
jams,
Yes,
they're like that fucking soft R&B.
yeah.
Like,
But the songs that are on this soundtrack, none of these will ever be ingrained into the movie, and it's kind of disappointing when you see people like John Legend had two songs on the soundtrack, and I was all like, that's too much, because I love John Legend, but like he hasn't been relevant in terms of the music scene in like a decade or whenever La La Land came out, because he was pretty good in that one. But even though we thought the movie was okay, leads us to a more interesting topic that I will like to talk about with everyone. It's just live action with either 2D or CGI components to it, because I think that's a really fun filmmaking just to watch and see, being able to see a blend of cinema together. Jared, do you remember what the first movie you saw where you kind of saw this type of
yeah,
blending of the two?
it was Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins did it pretty well. It was pretty standard for movies back then to try to incorporate that in. But Mary Poppins was the first one I remember going like, oh, they went into the painting. Like, it was really cool. I really liked it. But I mean, I'll let you guys answer first, and then I'll go into my 30-minute essay on Roger Rabbit.
What about you, Joe? What was the first movie you remember that had this type of blending of the two?
man. I believe it or not, I actually might say Space Jam. I'm trying to rack my brain on because I don't. You know what thing is? I don't think I've seen that Mary Poppins. Another thing I don't because I'm assuming that movie came out first.
With Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins.
Wait, hold up. I did. That one was live action. I can. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I for
I
some
mean,
reason I thought
both
the whole-
versions did it. So, but
I thought the whole thing was just like it had like special effects, but not necessarily like the animated thing. Yeah, I just want to say Space Jam might have been the first. It just I don't think there was a lot because I don't think this category has too many films to begin with, right?
it's grown with 3D. The latest
As it's
one that
gotten
just came,
cheaper.
yeah. The biggest one that just came out was Detective Pikachu. That is the last. I mean,
Fuck
so
yeah, it's
Sonic
so
the
good.
Hedgehog as well, but that type of blending where now they're using 3D rather than just the solid 2D art. Mary Poppins, like all you guys, that's the first one, simply because that's my mom's favorite movie, and so that's one of the first movies she would show me. So I was like, oh, I thought that was pretty cool that you can do both. I didn't know you can. My 4-year, 5-year-old brain was like, how did you do this? It doesn't make any sense. How do you do these animated creatures just come out of nowhere and then you just film it, you know? But I always thought this was really cool. But the one thing I hated was that it was always in a kid format, right? It was always directed towards 5, 6, 7 year olds until you saw a lot of good ones that can transcend over a family topic. One that Robert Zemeckis like killed in, and he's a very eclectic director. But man, when he wants to immerse himself in technology, he will, and that's one of the movies that Jared fawns over, which I do too, which is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What makes Who Framed Roger Rabbit so special within this category, Jared?
Oh, I mean, the meticulous attention to detail. So if you notice in Mary Poppins, when she's interacting with the animated people things in the painting, like at the racetrack, she's accepting the bouquet of flowers and she's like talking to the reporters. Her eye line isn't meeting the reporters. She has no effect on the environment, and the environment has no effect on her. There's very little interaction and exchange with that. Whereas if you look at Roger Rabbit, every little thing has an effect on the other. It's a reaction and an action in there. So there's a famous scene in Roger Rabbit called Bumping the Lamp. So Bob Hoskins, who is great in this movie, is walking into a lamp and it boom, he hits it, and it's when he's trying to saw off the handcuffs, right? From him and Roger being handcuffed together because he doesn't have the key. I don't know if you guys know this. Every animated cell or every cartoon character and piece of animation in Roger Rabbit was drawn directly onto the celluloid, onto the film. And there were 5 different layers and drawings that they did for each frame of the film. So for every animated character, there were 5 different layers that had to deal with the shadow, the foreground, and everything like that. So when that light is swinging in that scene, it's the light is reflecting off of everything, and including Roger and his effects on Bob Hoskins, the shadow on the wall, this and that. It's the meticulous attention to detail that makes that movie so believable and fun, because you don't watch these movies like Space Jam. You're watching it and it's just fuck, like it's just kind of these CG characters kind of running around. Roger Rabbit, you have him sitting on this crate, and every little movement the crate is moving with him. He gets dunked in the water and he comes up and he spits out real water. It's not animated water. He's dunked in real water, so he should be spitting out real water. It's not, because the story is a pretty boilerplate kind of thing. It's like it's like a noir. It's this, it's that. It's the characters we grew up with and the attention to detail that create this wonderful type of movie that we will never see again. There's a scene in the end when they're falling with the parachute, and there's Bugs and Mickey, and then Daffy and Donald. And that one scene had so much litigation behind it. And like, okay, well, Bugs can't have more screen time than Mickey, and this can't have more screen time than that. And if you freeze frame it, it's like you see these characters on screen and you're like, fuck, how did the mouse let even these guys coexist? It's crazy. I love this movie because it's so fun, and it's also pretty grown up, and it has the most terrifying villain in any movie in that plagued my childhood. That scene when the judge picks up the boot in the very beginning and he puts it in the dip is life altering. It is terrifying. But I'll end it to say this movie, with the eye lines, if you rewatch it, when I was talking about Mary Poppins and the eye lines, Bob Hoskins is looking at Roger. He is interacting with Roger, and there are some times when he'll miss the eye line, and the animators will compensate for that with Roger like kind of hugging up against the wall, and he gets like really tight against the wall, and it makes him look taller. Or like he'll do like a funny thing with his hands, and Hoskins will be looking at his hands. It's so smart and well done, and I could watch this movie over and over and never get tired of it. You notice something new every time. And as a kid who grew up on Looney Tunes and Disney and that kind of stuff, it's just a love letter, and I adore it.
We're gonna go into our top 5. So Joe, lead us off. Who do you or what film do you have at number 5?
I really don't think that people are gonna like my choice. Mainly because this skirts on whether or not it's considered animated live action, but it's Ready Player One.
Okay.
Because it's very polarizing because there's a lot of people like this is a fucking shit movie, and I want to say polarizing in the sense that there's one group that says fucking shit, the other group that says it's fine. So I don't think anyone's saying like this is like a fantastic movie. I liked it. I thought the premise was. I think it's based on a book. I thought the premise was good. The concept of finding keys and having like a cool challenge in a MMO, so to speak, was cool. Ending was just kind of shit. But I liked the concept. I enjoyed it at the time, and I think I watched it on like a plane ride or something. You know, yeah, it was just enjoyable. It sort of just made, it just barely made the cut, sort of thing. But yeah, Ready Player One, I really liked it. If no one here, you guys listening, ever watched it, I'd say it's worth a gander. And if you don't get hooked in the first 20 minutes, you can peace out, because really the first 20 minutes pretty much defines what it's going to be about. So that's my number 5, Ready Player One.
Yeah, that was a I'll allow it. That's a pretty good choice, Joe.
Cool, thanks.
So at number 5, I have Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Jesus Christ. Holy shit, man.
I actually have Casper. I truly enjoy this
talking
movie.
Like the OG Casper?
OG Casper with Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman. I was thinking about this list, and one of the things I really enjoyed it was like I still don't get how. I mean, I get it now because of like movie magic and stuff like that. But as a kid and even watching it now, I was very amazed at how you can CGI and put Casper in all these different places while being able to relate. And I love the family story altogether. I think it's a fun movie. I'm telling you now, most of my list are family movies. They just progressively get better as we move along. But I really enjoy Casper, and people, Casper isn't relative to pop culture as it is now. But back then, I mean, the stuff was fun. So that's what I have at number 5. Jared, what do you have? What film do you have at number 5 here?
Mine's a pretty old one. It's from the 60s. It's called The Incredible Mr. Limpet. It's with Don Knotts. He gets turned into a fish. And the only reason why I have it on my list is because I used to watch these movies when I was a kid. Kind of like with Don Knotts. Also, he was famous for being Barney in Andy Griffith's Show.
Mm-hmm.
He also did The Ghost of Mr. Chicken, and The Incredible Mr. Olympic is just a movie I used to watch when I was a kid, and there's nothing really. It's not that good. It's not good, It's not some, but it's something that I enjoy. But yeah, my other ones will be a little better than that. But Incredible Mr. Olympic is my de facto number 5 for this.
All right, Joe. Let's see if Scooby-Doo can make your list. What do you have at number 4?
I'm fucking Scooby-Doo. Fuck that shit. It's gonna be a little crass, but I like Ted. I have Ted at number 4. I don't really know how I feel about Mark Wahlberg in general. Someone was making I don't know if it's a meme or a comment. It goes, Mark Wahlberg's classic thing is to be constantly confused and looking around like, huh? Yeah. What's going on? And yeah, I don't know. Like I want to say he's an actor that I enjoy watching, but I'm on the fence about it as of late. But I think it was a funny film. It's made by the guys who did Family Guy, I think.
Yes, McFarlane.
conceptually having I think this is rated R, a adult film, a rated R film on a a teddy bear was a interesting idea. Um, I think it was done as well as the idea allowed it. I think that there's a sequel for Ted 2 on this. I don't know if I watched it or not, but the first one very cool at the time. I I pretty much rate it by whether or not I had a couple chuckles throughout the way, which I did. I wasn't necessarily bored throughout, and Mark Wahlberg did a good enough job to keep me entertained for the movie. So I want to say the movie served its function,
Good
so to
enough.
speak. Yeah, it's good enough, and that's sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. Um, and in the case it does, it was fine. So I have Ted at number 4.
Ted is the closest thing that we'll ever get to a Stu and Brian live action movie.
Yeah,
That is
that
what
sounds
it
about
is.
right.
So what I have at number 4 is Stuart Little. And a lot of it is, it's funny now that, I rewatched it a couple of days ago and I was like, oh shit, House is in this movie. Gina Davis, Nathan Lane has the voice of Snowball. But I mean, this movie holds a near dear in my heart because I am a big Michael J. Fox fan. I will always watch things that he's in. And him as Stuart Little, still to this day, is so good. It's just, you know, he's very earnest, and when he's in those type of roles, it just works really well. The animation and all that actually does hold up with the live action. I thought that was pretty cool, especially if you're using like a live, like a real kitten with like a CGI mouse. And I thought that was really cool just to kind of watch. That is the only other movie that I can see that kid from Jerry Maguire in, because I don't think he did any other movie. Oh, or My Little Vampire as well. But man, that kid had a good run for those 3-4 movies, and then when he became
Child
an
actors,
adult, he
yeah,
decided
child actors, man.
no more. So, but yeah, I have Stuart Little at number 4. Jared, what do you have at number 4?
This list was actually like pretty hard for me to come by. Number 4 is Cool World. No, I'm just kidding. Have you, Joe? Have you seen Cool World? Do you
Yes,
know
it is.
Cool?
It is. It is. It is not great.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
It's not great.
I was kind of hoping you would have said no, so I
Oh,
could
and
have
you
been like,
recommend it?
Joe,
You son of a bitch!
you should watch Cool World.
I was born yesterday.
That's funny.
I've been around the block.
My number 4 is Detective Pikachu because that movie's fucking great. I walked in with zero expectations, being a millennial, true and true. I was like, shit, if I just get to see some fucking Pokemon, I'm psyched. It blew away every expectation I had. The funniest scene was when they're doing the underground battles and those speaker Pokemon are like blasting out of the music out of there, just blah, like Ryan Reynolds is not a great voice for Pikachu, but whatever. I was into it the whole time. The story got kind of weird, but I can forgive that. I just really appreciated that they tried, and the idea of people and Pokemon living in a symbiotic town is really interesting. Like, it wasn't just the what we were expecting, like the whole Ash Ketchum thing, oh, pick your 3 and
Yeah.
kind of thing. The fact that they really thought about how, oh, well, of course the Squirtle Squad's going to be fighting fires. Of course, all this is going to happen. It was very, very surprising, and it is number 4.
That's a good choice. All right, Joe. Let's see if the Smurfs can make it on this list. What do you
Man,
have
what
at number
the
3?
fuck are these suggestions you're giving me? Fuck the Smurfs, man. Shit was whack.
Whoa.
I still have a lot of lists got to go through.
That being said, I have a it's a completely different turnaround. There's no one. It's Enchanted. I don't know if you guys watched that film. It's like a romantic movie thing. I liked it, man, and I thought that Amy Adams did a great job of being the live action princess, and Patrick Dempsey being the husband or whatever. I always thought that it's also their. I didn't know this. They're actually making a sequel coming out next year. It's called Disenchanted. I don't know if that's necessarily the most original idea, but initially when I saw that, I was like, "What?" Because I know that the Matt Groening has a animated series called Disenchanted that I sort of like as well. But
Is that good?
it's good for a minute, and I think it's sort of stagnating a little bit. Conceptually, it's interesting because it's I mean, the animation's pretty much Simpsons, I'd say.
Yeah. So we've been kind of chilling this past week of summer school, and I've been showing my kids
Mm-hmm.
the old episodes of The Simpsons, and nothing makes me more happy than to see them laugh at Simpsons jokes from
This is like season 5 to 10.
Yeah, 4,
Okay.
5, 6, like that kind of stuff. Like they're
Yeah.
like, put on the monorail the other day.
Man,
and they
that
were
that's
fucking
some.
cracking up, and it made me so happy.
I love when there's musical, and I maybe because I'm
So
a musical
good.
guy. Even on like a thing I recently watched Family Guy again, where they sort of made fun of the girl who had Downs. Like Chris went on a date with the girl with Downs. And it's more making fun of Chris, I think, but it's
I just like I would never got into the big. I was never a big Family Guy.
I get that a lot, and I think there's a lot of people out there who are like, yeah, family, slapstick humor is not for me, and that's perfectly fine. I get that. But anyways, Enchanted, I like the story, I like the concept. It was very, very cute. It was very, very again, musicals is a big deal for me, man. It pumps it up real good. So I have that as number 3.
And number 3 for me, I have Mary Poppins. It is a movie that my mom showed it. It still sticks with me when it comes to this category at just how well they did it during that time. And it still holds up. I really enjoy that movie. We talked about musicals before, and you guys have especially Jared has a love for it because it was his number 1 when it came to musicals. So keep that short and sweet. I have Mary Poppins at 3.
Good pick.
Yeah, that's my number 3 as well. I went on about it during a musical episode, but like Julie Andrews is second to none. Dick Van Dyke. I'll speak to the animated scenes in this ones. Like it's really fun. Like the idea of her going into the painting and all that, and the way that they did the kind of like the chalk color, they kept that true to the background. I really, really liked this. The way they did that. It was always my favorite part of the movie when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Mary Poppins. I mean, you could do a lot worse than showing your kids Mary Poppins these days.
Oh yeah, for sure,
right.
for sure.
All right, you guys, we're on to number 2. Let's see if Alvin and the Chipmunks, the sequel, will make it on Joe's list. What do you have at number 2?
I have Jurassic Park, the original, not the original.
Are you counting like Dono DNA in there,
dude?
Mr. DNA.
Yeah, it's
dinosaurs.
I don't know. I liked it. It's a classic. I don't know, man. I think it holds up pretty good. I gotta say,
Joe. Jurassic Park is a top 5 movie for me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like I'm questioning
if he's following the Rubik's Cube correctly.
Following the fucking rules, bro.
Well, here's the thing, though. The thing is, the dinosaurs were
largely animatronic.
I thought a lot of them were.
No. Unless you're talking about Jurassic World.
No. God.
So I'll let it. I think this is okay because I love Jurassic Park.
Completely screw it up in that sense. I feel like I tried. Anyway,
it's completely on brand. So
yeah, that's fair. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys, but yeah.
No, sorry. Don't you apologize for living
your life, dude.
Live your truth.
Jurassic Park, my number 2. I liked it. It holds up really well. Hey, man, I'm not trying to look.
One of the greatest movies of all time. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah. Again, holds up really well. Unfortunately, I don't think the sequels did really well. Hey, fuck you, man. I do what I want. I want.
I'm not even laughing at you, Joe. I'm just. The book is really good too.
I never read them.
Highly recommend. The first book is super good. I got it on audiobook.
Man, you and audiobooks, man. You're
Yeah, bro. What else am I gonna do when I'm floating in the pool, bro?
You know, I think I've been. If I had, when I was thinking about it more, because I remember you mentioned it. I think I actually just read more than I do audiobooks, and I think it's. I guess you don't want to get your book wet, so that makes sense. But you go in the pool and you just do audiobooks. Is that what you do?
Yeah. Well, if I'm floating, I got a pool and it's summer.
Okay, I can dig that. Jurassic Park, great movie. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if they're making another sequel for Jurassic Park. Are they just done there?
Finish that trilogy.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, it that's the thing about great movies, right? They try to milk it. I don't really know how I feel. I mean, Chris Pratt again. I like Chris Pratt on the sequels. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I mean, he's a garbage person in general. But
that's what I mean. Like, I just in terms of acting, I think doing Jurassic Park was a little bit out of his. I don't know. I don't know if it's done well. But anyways, the original fantastic movie, always held up well. Very the scary scenes are still very scary. Even
that the raptor scene,
the kitchen scene, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah. They're learning. They're opening doors.
They're
fucking you up.
Great Spielberg right there.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I'm glad that a dinosaur movie like that did well. I'm not sure if a lot of dinosaur movies, other
Man
ones.
Before Time, baby.
Oh God, it's just. Ugh. There was a for example, and I'm sorry going slightly off topic, but is it like King Kong versus we talked about it in one of our like
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah, like the movie was good, but it just the fact that they're flying into the middle of the earth concept was kind of like lost to me.
I loved it.
But but I'm saying like Jurassic Park didn't really deviate from being good. You know, it was very, very consistent throughout. It was very memeable even to this day. I think it's hilarious, and it's just something that really never goes away. It's and loved it. All right, that's my number 2.
At number 2, I have probably the best family movie that came out in the past 10 years. It's Paddington. I absolutely love this movie. Who would have thought a little British bear can invade my heart with the warmness of it? I absolutely love it. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend it, because also Paddington 2 is really good as well. I really didn't think this movie was going to be. I thought it was going to be just a whatever movie, but I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. Just lessons kind of going through it. But yeah, I have Paddington 2. Or not Paddington 2. I have Paddington at 2. What I mean. All right, Jared, who do you have at number 2?
The Lego Movie. What?
It skirts by. But yes, it's just the animatronics skirting by.
Excuse me. There are live action scenes with Will Ferrell and his son in that.
I was worrying about that. I was like, there's only like 1% of the movie that's like live action. I'm like, all right.
That's more than the fucking
Hey, you know what?
Fucking guy.
You know how they have those scenes where they're like helicoptering over and I'll see all the dinosaurs just running by or whatever? That part of it had to be like
100%.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think by percentage, I think Jurassic Park still wins out.
So I backed you up, bro.
All right, you're right. I backed you up on Lego Movie. Yeah, you're right.
Get out of here with your Lego Movie slander, Johnny, because this movie is hilarious. I went in with zero expectations and I had the biggest, dumbest smile on my face the whole time. It was so funny. The way that they just incorporated all the stuff that we used to do as kids with Lego into it, and just the jokes and all of that stuff. It's so funny. The fact that they got that voice cast to do that movie will never not make me laugh. And like all the cameos, you had Will Arnett as Batman. You had all these characters as the famous like Legos. God, it just made me want to spend way too much money on Legos. I love that movie, and yeah, it's my number 2. I want to watch it again.
All right, you guys. So we're down to number 1, and there's still a lot of movies here that I haven't heard that we probably might hear. Tom and Jerry is still up there. We got Looney Tunes Back in Action with Brendan Fraser and Jenna
You have
Elfman.
some
That's there.
weird ass fucking
Yogi Bear
recommendations.
is still
Jesus.
there. But I have a feeling someone here is going to pick Song of the South. So,
Get
Joe,
the what?
who do you
No.
have at number 1?
We edit it out if he picks fucking Song of the South.
My number 1 is Jungle Book. And I know that it's like kind of, I feel like it's kind of a cop out pick, but you know, the live action films by Disney, aside from Mulan, oh god, Mulan, I think they were done well. I was going to do Aladdin as well. I just didn't want to have two sort of similar-ish movies on my top 5. I want to have a little bit of variety. So, in that sense, I like Jungle Book a little more because, you know, again, musicals, singing in Jungle Book was a little bit better in my opinion than Aladdin. And I like Christopher Walken in it. I think I like the story is always going to be a classic. I think it stayed true to the originals in terms of everything that's been in there. It was a delight to watch. It was it hit all the points I wanted to hit, and I went in to the movie expecting it to be a good movie, like just a good solid movie, and it did. It delivered, and that means a lot to me. So in that sense, I do have Jungle Book as my number 1.
Nice. We're talking about the Jon Favreau one, right?
No, God, you
Okay.
you do your thing, man.
So, I mean, number 1. This is the one of the few lists that we've done so far where I know what number 1 is, and you just work your way down. It is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That is the movie that's there. Like Jared has talked about with the animation, the blending, Hoskins being, Hoskins could have phoned this performance in, but like him being able to act around like inanimate things and kind of have it taken seriously works really well. Christopher Lloyd as the baddie in this movie is just so creepy. Keep in mind, a couple years before that, he is Doc Brown in Back to the Future. So for him to make that kind of transition kind of shocks me. This is, if you're a kid and you're watching it, this is your first taste into noir films. And if you like it, cool. You kind of explore more of like Chinatown, stuff like that. I do dare say that this is outside of Back to the Future. This is Zemeckis' best film. Like I do have this as his second best film that he's made. But yeah, there's nothing more I can say. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's my number 1.
Yeah, it's my number 1 as well. I mean, I spoke about it at large earlier. And when I spoke about how they drew the animation on the celluloid, that means Hoskins and all the other actors were acting with nothing there. They had to finish filming. They finished filming the live action scenes before a single pen and ink were drawn onto that celluloid. Think about how fucking crazy that is, that movie turned out, 1, as well as it did, and 2, believable as it was with that technique. It's just crazy. It blows my mind when you go back and you learn and you really study this kind of stuff, because it's just crazy.
Kind of disappointed no one had Peter Rabbit on this list. Well, that's fine.
Johnny, you're just hoping for another Bagger Vance.
Love Bagger Vance. Love it. Keep that shit forever, baby.
Joe, where can they find us?
They can find us, like always, and forever always. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, at FilmLoversGTTG. Like I say every week, guys, I want you to send us questions. Give me ideas for rants. Give me ideas for things I should be talking about. Give us ideas for movie topics you'd like to hear about. Tell us we are wrong. Tell us we are right. tell me that Jurassic Park should not be in this category, that's all good. I would like to take all criticisms, all comments, all compliments. That'd be great. But we'd love to hear from you. Film lovers, GTTG.
Jared, where can they find you?
You can find me tweeting about pro wrestling, movies, and other stuff at JLUTHY, JLuthy on Twitter. You can email us at filmloverspod@gmail.com. Send us letters. It makes us happy. I'll read them on the air and we will laugh, hopefully. Yeah, so follow me on Twitter. Tweet at me when I tweet stuff. That's how that internet site works.
And you guys can follow me, Twitter, Instagram at JNO11, JNGO11. On Twitter, I'm just talking about movies, replying to other stuff, So if you guys have questions, this is the best time, especially since I'm starting to do Letterbox, which really good for me just to write movie reviews out. But man, it gets depressing when I see some of these people's reviews, and it's more. I mean, I get it. Bell shaped curve. Most movies are average, and then you realize it. But sometimes, man, you just got to enjoy movies. You just, that's what we love to watch. But Galaxy Brains, next week, it's movie club time. And Jared's going to have a movie here that we're all going to watch and discuss. So come back, watch our tweets when we'll tell you what movie it is. But until then, hope you guys have a good week.